Okay, the time is 7:33. I'll call this regular business and public hearing meeting of the Mayor and Council to order. Today is Monday, July 13th, 2015. Councilwoman Krause is not able to be with us tonight. She had to go, her brother is having surgery and she had to go attend to him. We ask that you keep her and her family in your thoughts and prayers. We'll start tonight's meeting with our invocation. We have Anna Harrington with the Worship and Music Minister for District 3 to lead us in tonight's invocation.
Let us pray. O great and holy one who created and loves us all, we thank you for the blessings of this world, the warmth of the sun, the coolness of a breeze, the cycle of seasons, the fruit of the earth, and the wondrous freedom to govern ourselves in community. We ask for your continued guidance this evening. We ask for listening ears, grace-filled speech on the part of all, spirits of humility, and the discernment to arrive at decisions that are fair, honest, just, and that are beneficial to all concerned. In the name of all we each hold and proclaim to be holy, let us say, Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Ms. Harrington. Tonight's announcements: on July 14th, there will be a Board of Appeals meeting at 7 p.m. Work session at 7 p.m. Meeting at 7:30 here at City Hall. On July 26th, you can watch a rebroadcast of this council meeting on Comcast Channel 25 at 6:30 p.m. The next regular meeting of the Mayor and Council will be on July 27th. We'll have a 6:30 p.m. work session in the conference room, 7:30 p.m. meeting here in Council Chambers. And the Planning Commission will meet on July 28th with a 7 p.m. work session and a 7:30 p.m. meeting. That now brings us to the Pledge of the Flag, and we have Quartermaster and Task Post Commander of VFW Post 4180, Jim Lynch, here to lead us in tonight's pledge. Mr. Lynch.
Please join me in pledge allegiance to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Lynch, and thank you for your service. Under ceremonial matters, we do have a new city attorney with us tonight. We want to introduce Chris Anowitz, it's close, and Brighton Johnson, who are here tonight representing Boughton Bingham, the new law firm and the new city attorney for the city of Snellville. So we know everyone will welcome them, and we appreciate y'all being with us tonight.
Thank you. We have the minutes for the June 8, 2015 business and public hearing meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes with amendments?
Yes, minutes approved with these corrections. Motion to approve.
There is a motion by Councilmember Emanuel. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Howard. All those in favor, say so raise your right hand. That's 5 in favor. All those opposed, that's 0 opposed. The minutes stand approved. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the May 11, 2015 executive session minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes of the May 11, 2015 executive session.
There is a motion by Councilmember Emanuel. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Howard. All those in favor, signify by raising your right hand. That's 5 in favor. All those opposed, 0 opposed. The minutes stand approved. Then do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the July 6, 2015 special call meeting?
Motion to approve the minutes of the July 6, 2015 specially called meeting.
There's a motion by Councilman Emanuel. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Howard. All those in favor, signify by raising your right hand. That's 5 in favor. All those opposed, 0 opposed. The minutes stand approved. Tonight we have no invited guests, although I did see former Mayor Oberholzer somewhere in the audience. Holzer, thank you for being with us. We have committee department reports. We have the chairman of the planning commission, Joe Williams, for a report. Mr. Williams.
Good evening. First of all, on our meeting coming up on the 28th, we do not have a work session set aside for that meeting because we're doing some housekeeping stuff. So there will not be a work session, just the 7:30 regularly called meeting. We had a meeting July 2nd, special call meeting to deal with a couple of zonings. The first one was the annexation LUP, annexation 1501, LUP 151503, and RZ 1503, and CUP 1503. This is the Summit Chase Clubhouse is wanting to come back into the city because of certain logistic problems with fire and medical and whatever. And we approved this unanimously. In fact, we told them we welcomed their money into our system. The second one, which is for our first reading tonight, is LUP 1502 and RZ 1502, which is the Park Place, Snellville, that tract of land across from Best Buy's, their Tree Lane, Presidential Parkway, several names on that one road. Anyway, it's for 9 out parcels and kind of subdivision, commercial subdivision. And we gave approval with the staff recommendations on that. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Williams? Thank you, Mr. Williams. Is Kirk here tonight? Anyone here for the Art Commission report? We'll postpone that till our next meeting. Mr. Sanders, do you have a city manager's report?
I do, just a short one. I know everybody has been watching our construction projects with quite a lot of frustration, and I appreciate everybody's patience as we work on the LCI downtown and the softball complex at Briscoe. I have some good news tonight. The main holdup on the LCI has really been the utilities. AT&T has been well behind. They have finally filled up all their holes and have all their wire off the poles. As a matter of fact, they just finished filling all their excavations about 2 hours ago. We are pouring concrete in the remaining sections of sidewalk, and basically we'll have substantial completion by the end of this week. We'll have a punch list left. At Briscoe, we are onto the punch list. They have poured several sections of, broken out and re-poured several sections of concrete. They have one set of steps to do, and basically we will be finished at Briscoe. So it's been quite a battle with folks, but I think when all is said and done, we'll have two very good projects. Already using the fields over on Briscoe, and they've been great. So I feel like it's something that the community's been looking forward to for a while. I look forward to both of those ribbon cuttings.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders. We have no consent agenda. Moving on to old business, we have the public hearing. We have first reading on annexation 15-01, LUP 15-15-03, RZ 15-03, and CUP 15-03. This is the annexation of the Summit Chase Country Club Clubhouse. So we have a motion to waive the first reading and place it on our July 27th agenda.
Motion to waive first reading on ANX 15-01, LUP 15-15-03, RZ 15-03, and CUP 15-03. Put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
There is a motion by Mr. Emanuel, and there's a second by Councilman Howard. Since it was not noted on here as first reading, I'm going to open it up if anyone came tonight expecting there to be action on this item. If there's any public comment, you can come forward now speaking for or against this action item, agenda item. Okay, see none. All those in favor of waiving the first reading and placing it on our July 27th meeting, signify by raising your right hand. That's 5 in favor. opposed, that's 0 opposed, the motion stands approved. That brings us to item B, LUP 15-02, RZ 15-02. This is for the application of Park Place Snellville. Do I have a motion to waive the first reading and place it on our July 27th agenda?
Motion to waive first reading of LUP 15-02 and RZ-15-02.
There's a motion by Councilman Howard. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Emmanuel. Again, since this was not denoted as first reading, I'm going to open this up for public comment. If anyone would like to speak for or against this motion or this agenda item, please come forward and state your name and address for the record.
Thank you, Mayor. Jerry Overall, 1855 Penny Way. I just want to come forward and say that I'm in favor of this rezoning. It's our last out parcel, and I think the issue that I want to really stress, it allows us to make that intersection there where Clyde Williams ties into 124 into a complete intersection. I will want to stress one thing that has come to my attention. I do want to make sure that the council has in there, which I did see, is interparcel connectivity between this development and the Home Depot. That will help alleviate traffic. I would like to point out to every member of council, you probably are aware of it, but every development we have on 124 has multiple exits and entrances on other streets. If you notice up, as you go up the street to the shops, that new Hobby Lobby has created a complete traffic nightmare because it only has one entrance onto 124. I mean, there's two entrances, but it only comes out to one street. And when the movie theater opens up, it's going to be a nightmare. I like to call it the Glenn Stevens development because he was planning director and he decided not to require additional access. With that one dig-in, there's one other comment that I would have. Like I said before, I think this is great, but on the other issue, the other shopping center across the street at Best Buy, I understand there's no interparcel connectivity between those two. Talking with staff, that wasn't a requirement. I would hope that as this goes through and other developments go through, the council would make an effort to make sure that if it's not the intention of the staff, that it be included in your recommendations. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for my time.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor, can I ask a question?
Yes.
When you were, I believe you were either mayor or on council when that Home Depot development was
No. Actually, that was before me, but we were involved just taking over back in 2000 because the road between Home Depot and Walmart, there was big discussions. We required the developer to rebuild that complete road. Likewise, on the other side, when that development came through, we required the developer to rebuild Jamar. And then likewise, when Sam's Club and Walmart came in, we required them as part of their conditions to build, they had to build that road. So we've been in, it's been more of a precedent that we've required developers when they develop along the 124 corridor to improve the infrastructure, and that's my concern. And we'll ensure that what's good about this one is it keeps that connection we have with Tree Lane.
Well, and I agree, except from what I understand, there is some heartburn on the part of the Home Depot developer to allow that interconnection from the new development.
I think
I was asking if you knew if we had anything in place at that time that would help us.
Actually, that development was prior to our new, what we introduced back in 2000, because if you notice there, the buffer, the previous administration had required a 50-foot buffer, but they ended up including the street as part of it. That's why that's closer than if you go up to Walmart, and you can see the progression of how things changed over the years. My concern, and I can tell you professionally from the municipality I work for, that's part of the issue is you have to provide that. And it just makes a lot of sense. Home Depot already benefits from that on a Jamar because you can go out by Kroger and that alleviates a lot of traffic. I mean, us residents who know the area, that's how we travel. We stay off of 124. And that's why this development really appeals because you've made that connection and you're going to require it. Like I said, my big heartburn is the new development at Lowe's. When that was passed for, because I don't think people realize that, we have actually approved that, and there was a set of development plans that was approved that had the connection between Best Buy and Lowe's. There was a road. And then talking with staff, that was not in their plans, and there was no way to force into it. So we have those two cut off. So I would hope that when that back parcel develops or redevelops, that be something the council would look as a condition. Thank you for your time.
Mayor, Tom, are you done?
Yes, sir.
I know that the new developer is definitely working with DDR to make that a reality.
Mhm.
And as Mayor Pro Tem Wicks alluded to, there is some heartburn. I don't know what the particular heartburn is, whether it's internal or what, but that's a very high thing on their priority to make that interparcel access a reality. So, and we certainly encouraged it. As the department, the planning department has also encouraged it heavily.
I mean, seriously, if you look at that corridor, I drive that every day now, it's heavily congested. What we're able to use by forcing developers into providing that, that's the cost of their development, and they all figure that into it. I can show you numerous places where that wasn't. That's a problem we have on 78, and that's why we've not been able to have sustainable growth or development along there. You know, sometimes developers don't like it, but it is what it is, and if they don't like it, it's a condition. It's like the racetrack there at Oak Road and 124. You know, I came forward, a year and a half, 2 years ago about it. We do have that stub street in there, so eventually when that parcel adjacent to it develops, it's there, there's connectivity. And I just think from a standpoint it helps traffic a lot. And if you want to come to Snellville and have our money, then putting in roads or infrastructure is something that's, you know, it's a wise investment. So thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Any other public comment? Mr. Williams?
Maybe I can clear something up from our meeting on that.
Can you state your name and address for the record?
Joe Williams, 2518 Picket Fence Lane, Snellville, Georgia. The applicant is more than willing to do the interconnectivity. In fact, it's even drawn on their plans, but they can't force the adjoining property owner. And they've got the adjoining of it at exactly the right spot where it should be, all engineered. It's just a matter of somebody from the city possibly needs to put some pressure on Home Depot for them to acquiesce to it, because it'll be beneficial to them to give them at least another traffic light exit.
That was my reason for my question to Mayor Wills. I thought maybe there was something put on that development at that time that they would have to do that.
We'd already checked it wasn't on that development. So, that's what we do on the planning commission, is look at all those things and try to hire them out before they get to you. So, we appreciate it. Any questions?
Thank you, Jeff.
Any additional public comment? Seeing that, I'll close that portion of the agenda item, and it will be back on for a full public hearing on July 27th, if we can waive the first reading. All those in favor of that motion, signify by raising your right hand. That's 5 in favor. All those opposed, that's 0 opposed. The motion stands approved. That then brings us to our new business. Item A is Mayor's nomination, Council's confirmation of the reappointment of Nedra Bailey and Brittany Washington to the Arts Commission. I put forth the nomination of Ms. Bailey and Ms. Washington. All those in favor, signify by raising your right hand. That's 5 in favor. All those opposed, that's 0 opposed. The reappointments stand. Item B is a new nomination. It's Mayor's nomination and Council's confirmation of Anna Harrington to the Arts Commission. Ms. Harrington is with us tonight. She let us an invitation. You all received Ms. Harrington's board application. Ms. Harrington teaches music and piano. She has been involved in the arts for many years, and she's anxious to get involved in the city of Snellville. She's got some great ideas for the Arts Commission. I understand that the Arts Commission previously made a recommendation for a vacancy. We currently have 2 vacancies on the Arts Commission. They made a recommendation of Mr. Banks, Leroy Banks, to serve. On June 18th, Mr. Banks sent an email that he had some illness in his family and he was having to withdraw his commitment on all city projects at that time. I believe it was June 24th, Ms. Harrington's application was sent to the Arts Commission, and for feedback, no feedback has been received to date, but I am moving forward with Ms. Harrington's nomination tonight. I think she'd be an excellent addition to the Arts Commission. So all those in favor of the nomination, signify by raising your right hand. That's 1 in favor. All those opposed, that's 4 opposed, the nomination fails. I apologize, Ms. Harrington. Item C is mayor's nomination and council's confirmation of Jimmy McKinley to the Arts Commission for a term to expire 6/30/2016. Ms. Kathy Martis resigned from Arts Commission. That's why it's for a term that hasn't yet expired. Mr. McKinley is here tonight. Mr. McKinley, if you could wave or stand up. Many of you may know Mr. McKinley. He is the previous band director at South Gwinnett High School. He led the band of stars for many years. He now is, I forget the school. What school are you at now? At Meadow Creek, but he is an academy leader and he's involved in the art school over there. And so we are lacking in the music area on the Arts Commission. That's why I put forward both Mr. McKinley and Ms. Harrington. Again, Mr. McKinley's application was sent to the Arts Commission on July 6th, asking for feedback. No feedback was received, so I am putting forward his nomination tonight. All those in favor of the nomination, please signify by raising your right hand. That's 1 in favor. All those opposed, signify by raising your right hand. Mr. Woods, Ms. Bender, are you not voting?
Just a point of order, Mayor. The last time we did confirmations for boards, you made the nomination and it was either just a vote to confirm or there was no vote. It wasn't a vote for or against. That's why we did it the last time we were doing these. If the parliamentarian would like to speak on that.
You can
Just
vote
clarify.
yes or no. If you abstain, it's a yes vote, according to your city code.
Okay, so it's not just confirmation, it's going to be a vote.
There's going to be a vote. You're going to confirm by a majority vote. If there's a majority vote, then the nominee is confirmed.
Okay,
If it's a negative vote, the nominee is not confirmed. To abstain
right.
is a yes vote.
Okay. Thank you.
All those in favor of the nomination, signify by raising your right hand. That's 1 in favor. All those opposed to the nomination, that's 4 opposed. The nomination fails. I'm sorry, Mr. McKinley, but thank you for being willing to serve. Item D is mayor's nomination. It's a reappointment of Adam Billion to the Parks and Rec Board. That's for post 5. All of those in favor of the nomination, signify by raising your right hand. That's 5 in favor. All those opposed, that's 0 opposed. The nomination is approved. Item E is reappointment of Robert Harrington to post 1, Joe Williams to post 2, and Ida Graham to post 3 of the Planning Commission. All those in favor of the nomination signify by raising your right hand. That's 5 in favor. All those opposed, that's 0 opposed. The nomination stands approved. Item F is the nomination for reappointment of Dexter Harrison and Nelson Williams to the Urban Redevelopment Authority. All those in favor of the nomination signify by raising your right hand. That is 5 in favor. All those opposed, that's 0 opposed. The motion stands approved. Item G is a new nomination. This is Mark Marietta. I'm nominating him to go on the Urban Redevelopment Authority for the position that was previously held by former council member Todd Warner. It's my understanding Mr. Warner's term expired in 2013 on the Urban Redevelopment Authority, and we have been unable to confirm someone to that post since then. Mr. Marietta lives over in Brookwood, I believe it's Brookwood Crossings. He is involved in construction. He is getting older in life and is cutting back and would like to get more involved in his community. He previously coached youth football when his children were younger and would like to get involved in other ways and asked to serve on the Urban Redevelopment Authority. All those in favor of his nomination signify by raising your right hand. That's 1 in favor. All those opposed? That's 4 opposed. The nomination fails. Item H, I'm withdrawing. Item I is reappointment to Dennis Lawton to post 1 and Sid Parrott to post 3 of the Board of Appeals. All those in favor of the nomination signify by raising your right hand. That's 5 in favor. All those opposed? That's 0 opposed. The reappointment stands. Item J is new nominations. This is the nomination of Penny Smith to post 4, John Mitchell to post 5, and Hank Reed to post 6 of the Board of Appeals. The Board of Appeals, as it currently is composed of, I am asking that we replace 3 members Currently, there is a 6-member board. I understand that it's council's position that the board needs to make a recommendation on the new members. I don't anticipate that the board would recommend replacing itself, so I am going forward with these nominations tonight without getting the recommendation of the board. I understand that we have members on the board, Ms. Ferris and Ms. Sweeney, that have served for many years on the Board of Appeals, but as I've said, since I've been elected, I think we need to have new involvement in the city of Snellville. And I think that we need a new vision. The Board of Appeals hears things like the awning case of Panera Bread, if they want to change the color of their awning, or a sign variance and things of that nature. It does not come in front of the mayor and council. They are a final authority. Ms. Smith, Penny Smith, is a local attorney. John Mitchell is a longtime resident. He lives over in off of Highway 78. He's been a poll worker here in the city of Snellville. He's active at Snellville United Methodist Church. And many of you know Hank Reed. He formerly was a restaurant manager here in Snellville. His son played football at South Gwinnett High School. He's always been very active and previously served on our Parks and Rec Board. So I believe that these would be 3 people that would be outstanding additions to the Board of Appeals. That said, all those in favor of the nomination signify by raising your right hand. 1 in favor, all those opposed. That's 4 opposed, the nomination fails. Item K, consideration and action to purchase fully equipped police vehicles from the general fund in the amount not to exceed $142,652. Do I have a motion to approve the lease funds?
Motion to approve the purchase of 4 fully equipped police vehicles from the general fund, capital outlay account, in the amount of $142,652.
There is a motion by Councilman Howard. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Emmanuel. Further discussion? Mr. Sanders, the chief notified us in work session. If you could just verify this for the public that wasn't there. These are all-wheel drive vehicles, and they're coming in under budget. Is that correct?
Correct. They're all-wheel drive, which will help us in all weather conditions. I think it's a smart move, and we have budgeted for it.
Thank you. Any additional discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. That's 5 in favor. All those opposed, that's 0 opposed. The motion stands approved. Item L, consideration and action for approval of the telecommunications management service agreement with GMA. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Do you have an amount of motion to approve a contract with GMA not to exceed $9,000?
9,000.
Motion to approve the contract not to exceed $9,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Emmanuel, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Witt. Any further discussion? Mr. Sanders, anything you need to tell us about this?
I'd just like to add that we have budgeted for this in the FY16 budget. Actually, with the dues savings from the reduction in dues that we've received, it almost pays for the contract. We have a cell tower lease. We have franchise agreements. We have right-of-way interests. And GMA, this management contract, can help us with all of those items. And it's been my experience in the past where the cost of the agreement usually is saved easily just through their revenue monitoring and their franchise auditing. So I would recommend this agreement.
Any additional discussion? All those in favor of approval of the telecommunications management service agreement with GMA not to exceed $9,000, and I guess authorizing, Mr. Manuel, amend your motion authorizing the mayor to execute.
That's correct.
Mayor Pro Tem Woods?
Yes.
That's okay. All those in favor, signify by raising your right hand. That's 5 in favor. All those opposed, 0 opposed. The motion stands approved. Item M has to do with the poll manager. It was brought to our attention that the mayor and council does not have the authority to appoint the poll manager. That's up to the election superintendent, so there will be no action on item M. Item N is consideration, discussion, action of SUP for beer and wine pour license for a concert on the town green on July 18th, 2015 and July 22nd, 2015. Do I have a motion?
August 22nd.
I'm sorry, August 22nd.
Yes, I move to approve the beer and wine pour license for the concert on the town green on July 18th and August 22nd, 2015.
And Mr. Woods, just for clarification, this is an SUP to be awarded to the Snellville Tourism and Trade.
Yes, it is.
Mr. Woods made a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Manuel. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by raising your right hand. That's 5 in favor. All those opposed, that's 0 opposed. The motion stands approved. Item O, Mr. Witz, you said you were going to sponsor this
Correct.
item, is that correct?
Yes.
So item O is consideration, discussion, action, to purchase the real property located at 2340 Wisteria Drive. Do I have a motion to authorize a purchase agreement for 2340 Wisteria Drive not to exceed the purchase price of $230,000?
So moved.
There is a motion by Mr. Witz. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Manuel. Any further discussion?
I'd just like to clarify with the city manager that it is $230,000.
That's correct.
Yes.
Are we going to have, okay, any further discussion? Ms. Bender or Mr. Witz about something?
This is the property that adjoins the existing property that we own on Oak Grove, or excuse me, Wisteria, right across the street from the police station, not on the Clower side. This is where the antique store is, and that house that's abandoned next to it. This, excuse me, this will take our property ownership from the corner of Clower and Wisteria all the way down to the end of that property where the driveway from the post office comes out. It's an integral piece of our downtown center project, and it came up for purchase. Our city manager did a wonderful job in working with the owner, getting the best price we could possibly get for the property. And I think it's just it's a good purchase, and it's an integral piece of our downtown project.
Anyone else? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. That's 4 in favor. All those opposed, that's 1 opposed. The motion stands approved. Item P is Resolution 2015-11, Hazard Mitigation Plan Adoption Resolution. It reads, whereas the City of Snellville understands the need to develop a multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan in order for the county to comprehend its vulnerability to natural and man-made hazards and the actions needed to reduce or eliminate those risks. Whereas the City of Snellville realizes the development of such a plan is vital to the protection, health, safety, and public welfare of its citizens as well as its visitors. Whereas the City of Snellville understands that in order for the county to receive mitigation funding from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, they must have a mitigation plan in place at the time of submitting a proposal. Whereas the City of Snellville is required to maintain a pre-disaster mitigation plan that fulfills the federal requirements of the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000. Whereas the updated multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan has been presented for public comment and reviewed by federal, state, and local agencies and was revised to reflect their concerns. Now therefore I, Kelly D. Couts, Mayor of the City of Snellville, Georgia, and the City Council do hereby adopt the Gwinnett County Pre-Disaster Hazard Mitigation Plan. Do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2015-11?
Motion to approve Resolution 2015-11 as read.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Councilman Howard. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. That's 5 in favor. All those opposed, that's 0 opposed. Resolution 2015-11 is approved. That concludes our new business and brings us to our council reports. Mr. Witz.
Good evening. First of all, I want to thank everyone in the room tonight who's here, who has submitted an application to become a member of one of our boards or committees. I really believe that it's an important step that you take, and we don't take it lightly. I do not want you to consider the votes that were made by this council tonight as anything directed towards any one individual or you all as a group. We have a policy that we have decided in the City of Snellville, The policy came for a reason. We just didn't decide to make things more difficult. We were getting appointments for boards and for committees, and people were getting on boards and committees, in some cases not even realizing that they had been selected. And others, never having been on a board, never being known when they were meeting or what was going to be done, and thrown into these boards. And what happened is those people walked away. They didn't stay. So we came up with a policy that what we're going to do is if someone wanted to apply and be a member on one of our boards or commissions, they would submit their application. Their application would go to that board and commission. That board and commission would then vet those applicants. Those applicants would get a chance to come to one of those meetings, work with that group, see the group, ask their questions, and find out if it was something they were interested in, rather than just do something in the dark. Then, that committee would come forward, bring that person forward to us. Now, at this point, we're looking at someone who has experience with that committee, has met with that committee, doesn't see a personality conflict or any other conflict, and the committee feels the same way. That person comes up in front of the mayor and council, mayor nominates, and the council confirms. We have not had one turn down of anyone who came through the system that way. We just feel that's good governance. I'm a little taken back by the fact that tonight we have people brought up for vacancies as far back as 2013. Now, I'd ask yourself, why do we have vacancies all the way back to 2013, and then in the last 3 months of administration want to change all these boards and commissions? We're having an election in 3 months. There's going to be a minimum of 2 and a maximum of 4 new people on this dais. I do not feel it's our business to decide who these board members are going to be on this new administration's boards and commissions. I think that's something that the new board and the new administration should be able to do. They're going to be their job to run the city for the next 4 years. That, along with the fact that in the applications tonight, 2 of the applications that were mentioned for the Arts Commission have not been held long enough by the Arts Commission for even them to have a meeting. So certainly there was no discussion on it. Another nomination tonight had no application at all. I'm sorry, that's just not the way I feel, and the majority of this council feels that we should govern your city. Those boards are extremely important. Just because someone volunteers does not lessen the importance of how important those boards are. The boards of appeals, when you come from the Board of Appeals, their decision can override the city council, and the only thing you have after that is to go to court. That's a pretty serious board. You want someone on there that has some experience on it, and I'm sure that attorney who was up tonight could very much be in that group. But again, we have a procedure, we need to go through that procedure. When we go through that procedure, it works. I hope y'all understand. Please know it's nothing personal. This is all. And tonight we have the URA. The URA, we had someone nominated to replace a sitting member on the URA when we have 2 vacancies. Now you got to wonder why we just fill a vacancy. We have a woman here in the room who a year ago this council made well known to the mayor we would approve for her to fill that vacant seat. And as a matter of fact, the city, at their expense, sent her to classes so she'd have an understanding of what being on that committee was, and the mayor won't bring her name forward. I don't understand that. We've had that vacancy for over 2 years. The lady is sitting here, Ms. Claudette Forrest. She's gone to school. She knows that the majority of this council will vote for her, but the mayor won't bring her name forward, not even tonight. So you got to wonder about that. There's lots of things here that are unsettling to me, but the most important thing is the fact that there's 3 months left of this administration, and I firmly believe that the next administration should be the one that's making these appointments. Thank you.
Ms. Bender.
I'm going to start off on a positive note. We, quite a few of us attended the Georgia Municipal Association convention in Savannah 2 weekends ago. I had a lot of great ideas, good networking with other city council members and mayors from other cities across Georgia. Also attended some training and got a good education so that we can serve you better. On the not so pleasant note, I would like to just make a comment here that within the last few days, a participant of the Snellville leadership class approached a member of the Veterans Memorial Committee asking about an investigation that was taking place concerning the memorial. This participant heard Mayor Couch state in last Thursday meeting that the memorial was under investigation. I'm the secretary and treasurer of the Snellville Community Foundation, which is the nonprofit organization that raised the funds and built the memorial. I, nor any of the board members or the committee for the Veterans Memorial are aware of any such investigations for any reason. I ask that the mayor will speak to me immediately after this meeting tonight regarding the nature of this investigation. As I have all the records for the organization and also the memorial, I'm sure any concerns can be resolved fairly quickly. I would plan to attend Thursday's meeting of the Snellville Leadership Group and would expect the courtesy of 5 minutes to help clarify Mayor Couch's comment with the participants that were in the program. Thank you.
Mr. Emanuel.
Well, I was going to talk about Savannah, but I guess Barbara didn't get the memo. It was a very enjoyable session. We do this every year, very educational when you attend the classes. I attended some with some of the other council members. Tom was in one of my classes, Barbara was in one, Bobby was in one, and Carl Vinson Institute puts it on. Excellent material, excellent instructors, and just really, really good information. And ironically, one of the classes I attended was emergency management. And that's something that we're going to be working on going forward. I don't believe the city has a sufficient emergency management program. And we had a lot of good information, a lot of good contacts from FEMA and GEMA. And if you get your ducks in a row early and you have an emergency, and hopefully we don't, but if we do, it's a lot easier to get government assistance to deal with that emergency than if you wait till the last minute and say, oh, what do we do now? We have an emergency. So those are the kinds of things, contacts and information that we all got going to those classes that enable us to serve the city better. And I certainly appreciate the opportunity to attend those conferences.
Mr. Howard.
How's everybody doing? Come on.
Doing well.
Out there. Well, did everybody support a business in the city of Snellville this past couple of weeks? Everybody went and had lunch somewhere or supported a local business? Well, that's what we want to do.
And if you didn't, don't worry about it. Kathy took care of it.
Thank you, Kathy. And actually, thank you to everybody that supports our local businesses, because that's really one of the drivers of our economy is our local business. And I'm not sidestepping the big box and all those. We enjoy those here as well. But the smaller places are a lot of the heart and soul that we live in our community. So I want to continue to encourage you to do that. Unfortunately, we're having a little technical difficulty tonight. So a little bit of my comments are going to change a little bit, but they will be back in 2 weeks. So, yeah. We only start.
Bring the popcorn.
I'm just giving you plenty of time to get a heads up. So, anyway, just briefly, the cop cab has been doing some what I think are pretty good things. We discovered that there's 4 other cars like ours in the state. And we just also had a reunion of all 5 cars together over the last couple of weeks. And it's been some really, really head-turning things to have those things available. And we're going to be doing some more. But I'm going to save that for 2 weeks from now. As David mentioned, we had the opportunity to go to GMA, and I've become a member of the Public Safety Policy Committee. As some of you know, public safety tends to be one of the things I tend to gravitate toward. And so I was happy to be selected to be part of that committee, and so I'm going to enjoy that. Butch talked about the missing poles that we have up through Oak and Wisteria. I think at night, once we get that project complete at night, it's really spectacular when you come through there and it's all lit up. it was mentioned earlier about Councilmember Krause's brother. I was just been in contact with Diane. He is doing well. He was in some cancer surgery, and he is at home, recovering nicely. And Diane has expressed her thanks and appreciation for everybody that has thought and prayed about that situation for her. She is with her daughter up in the Northeast taking care of him. So his name is Tom Charlton. And if you guys would continue, it's going to be a long process. It was a pretty substantial surgery. And I know Diane appreciates everything you guys do to that end. So other than that, thank y'all for being here. I thank y'all very much for the opportunity to serve this great city. And we have a lot of great things happening, and just be out there with us. Thanks.
That concludes the council reports. Now for the mayor's report. I was not planning on giving a report today. Went to GMA and we had the 4th of July, but there's been such a long time in between. But I feel like after Mr. Witts made some of his comments that I need to respond to some of the inaccuracies that were stated. First thing, I think that, excuse me, Mr. Schultz? As regards to the allegation that there was not an application on file for anyone for one board appointment, the appointments that were not confirmed tonight, I believe Mr. McKinley, who received his application on July 6th, Ms. Harrington, I believe we received her application on or about June 24th. Mr. Mitchell has actually been vetted before by this mayor and council. He received his application back on February 3rd of 2012. Hank Reed, same. He's been vetted by this mayor and council before. His application received back on June 26, 2012. Penny Smith has been vetted by this council before. Her application was received back on December 6, 2013. And Mark Marietta's application was received back on November 5th, 2014. And I've gone back to check my emails that those applications were emailed out to the mayor and council at the time that they were received. I don't believe that there's any other nomination that wasn't confirmed tonight. So I believe that was an inaccuracy saying that we don't have everyone's application. As far as the URA and filling the vacancies, I actually emailed council. I've emailed them a couple of times since we've had almost a month between our two meetings, trying to keep them up to date on what I plan on doing with our board appointments. When I emailed them, although I don't have all of these on tonight's agenda, I notified them that I was planning on putting up Mr. Marietta, Mr. Knox, whose application I do withdraw tonight, and then also Ajit Jesus, whose application I have not received, and that's why he is not on tonight's agenda for nomination. I'll put that on the next council meeting. But there are 3 vacancies on the URA, and I do have 3 people that I was planning on putting up for those vacancies until tonight. I did previously talk to Ms. Forbes, and I hope she doesn't get upset with me for sharing this information. But I did previously talk to Ms. Forbes about, hold on, I deleted it by mistake, about serving, and she did say she would still be willing to serve on a board, and I did consider putting her up tonight. However, back on May 13th, 2015, she received an email from Councilman Howard that said that I have become aware of your vicious online attack of Mr. Melvin Everson. I've decided not to be associated with someone who has the views that you have expressed in public. And based on that email that Ms. Forbes had previously received from Councilman Howard, I didn't feel that the council would confirm her appointment if I put her nomination up tonight. And so that's why she was not nominated, although she's previously gone through training. So it's not something that we have people that I'm not willing to put up. We have vacancies. I had 3 applicants. I'm putting those people up. As far as there being a vacancy since 2013, Mr. Warner's term did expire in 2013. He has held over because this council has failed to confirm my nominations. This is not the first time I've put someone up for that position, but council has not approved those nominations, and so he has continued to hold that position. I don't want, the way Mr. Witz made it seem, it was as if that position has been vacant and I haven't put anyone up, and that's just not accurate. Finally, I believe Mr. Witz made alluded to the fact that I was trying to make administration changes before the election in November. The truth is that these board appointments expire on June 30th, 2015, and so these appointments have expired. It is set up by our charter and our ordinances that way, and the mayor always makes those nominations before the election in November. Mayor Oberholzer made nominations before my election in November of 2011. Those terms are staggered terms, and it's not something that the mayor, if there's a new mayor elected in November, it's not something that that person has the authority to make new appointments at that point in time. It actually takes, based on our charter, it takes 4 members of council to remove a board member unless the board member has missed 3 consecutive meetings. So these are independent boards. They don't report to the mayor, and this is something that in end of June of each year, these appointments are typically made. So it's not something that I'm doing to try to get all my whatever Councilman Witz is alluding to, friends or colleagues on boards before the end of my term. So I think that addressed all of his allegations. And with that, I will open it up for public comment. We do have some people that signed up for public comment. Ms. Goodman signed up to talk about sanitation. Is that what it says?
Correct.
But I have a question about disclosure, so if you can give me a moment before public comment starts. Chris, if I can see you at the bench just for a minute.
Yes.
If I can see you up here for just a minute.
Oh,
Sorry.
there, okay.
Ms. Goodman, if you'll come forward, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Maria Goodman, 2135 East Main Street, Snellville, Georgia, 30078. I'm here to talk to you guys in reference to sanitation. I own a small business named Chico's Thrift in the city's Snellville city limits. And it's been brought to my attention here and very recently, as of Wednesday, that it's an ordinance of the city of Snellville to have a dumpster on site for sanitation for every business, no matter what, no exceptions. Thrift store that I own, everything that comes in is either recycled, sold, or given away for free, or just donated out. And I'm being told that this is an ordinance that will not be changed. There's no ands or buts. So I'm here to ask you guys if you could make any exceptions or come to a vote or something like that, because there's other businesses that are in the city of Snellville that are not being asked the same thing. I've spoken to other business owners of different businesses, not just necessarily thrift stores, that don't have dumpsters on site and have never been pursued, and have actually been threatened to have my business license pulled due to this.
Ms. Goodman, have you spoken to our city manager before?
I don't think so.
I'll be glad, you can just give me your contact information, I'll be glad to call you tomorrow.
You got it. Done. Okay. Do you have anything to ask me or anything? All right, on?
Thank you.
All right.
And then we have Grace, is it Patton? Yeah, did you have something you wanted to talk about? Come forward and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, I'm Grace Mary Batten, and I've been a resident of Snellville for the past 5 years and a constituent too. And I'm here to support Mrs. Goodman from Shapers Thrift. She has helped me and my family tremendously through her entrepreneurship. And I ask the city of Snellville to consider her plea and make the exception that she requests so she can continue her work in our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Patton. And is Elizabeth Young?
Yes. Good evening, my name is Elizabeth Young, and I reside at 5893 Four Winds Drive, Loveland, Georgia. I'm here to speak on behalf of my friend Mary Goodman and her business Cheapos. I wanted to vouch that she is very eco-friendly in terms of the purpose of her business, and it does serve the community. And it offers people of limited means an opportunity to purchase furniture or other items that they might not otherwise be able to purchase. She also is a very self-driven woman. However, her passion for the community is not going to give her a high profit margin personally. She lives very modestly. And so every dime, every dollar does count for her to be able to operate and maintain her business. And so I do request that you consider waiving this requirement for sanitation for her. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Patton, I don't believe I got it on the record. Is your address 1726 Norton Estates Drive, Snellville, Georgia?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
That's correct. I'm sorry.
Anyone else have public comment?
Good evening. Doug Adams, 2896 Milton Bryan Drive, Loganville. As the new president of the Greater Eastside Chamber of Commerce, we are having a ribbon cutting in the morning at 9:30. We'd love to invite all of you. It's at Keller Williams World Ventures Travels right here on Wisteria. So we just want to make, hopefully you guys, somebody can make it there, and you folks are all invited too. 9:30 in the morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Adams.
My name is Kurt Schultz, 2027 Tanglewood Drive. Now I am speaking. This is more of a question. I don't know how many months or years ago it was, but I believe the council passed a system or whatever in order to have board members vetted, and this was to be done by the actual committee. And I believe what Ms. Couch said tonight, you all may have received various applications from people wanting to serve, but yet they have not been vetted by the actual committee. And is that not what was passed months ago by a majority of the council, that this is what the system needs to be done? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Ms. Maldonado?
Good evening. My name is Carol Maldonado, 1720 Toasttown Court, Snellville, 30078. My commentary is regarding the nominations. Since I have been involved in city and community activities, I've noted a very extreme, what I call Snellville concrete wall of power. And I am just grateful that we do have the mayor who provides for us a voice of clarification through the consistent and constant, what I call smoke and mirrors, that's often demonstrated here among the council. My concern is what it will be like when that one voice of clarification no longer exists on this council. So I would like to make this comment public to the community that it's very important what your vote is come this November. I just can't imagine a city council where there's no voice of clarification. regarding the nominations, I have seen this happen last year and again this year. The mayor's nominations have been blocked for reasons that are the smoke in the mirror, is what I call it. And to the nominees who were nominated tonight, that you take heed that such smoke occurs in this city, and that your involvement is very important, very necessary to change the type of activity and to tear down this concrete wall of power. One thing that needs to be duly considered throughout all of the residents here in Snellville is that term limits be imposed on committees and boards. Because having a set certain number of appointees to serve term after term after term after term for a lifetime reflects no change and no growth. So I am here to state publicly and for the record that such matters be taken into grave consideration for the health of our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Maldonado. The time is 8:35 and we are adjourned. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Have a safe trip home.
I'll email you my